Lito,
Yeah.
quick. You got to pick one Pelicans player right now today. Your life on the line to make the Olympic team and do good. Who is it?
Yo, I think I'm gonna go with.
You must know that
Ah,
first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
welcome to another episode of In Space. I'm your humble host, Chris Connor. Shout out to my dog Lito here. Shout out to me not having the banner slash sponsor here, but y'all know how we feel about Scott Vigner. Here they go. Hurt 504 500 ones. Give them a call. You know what I'm saying? And really, they really don't tell you what kind of hurt. You could be emotionally hurt. You could be, physically
That's true.
hurt.
True.
You could be, um, you know, uh, you could be watching the Saints. You could be watching Derek Carr. You could be thinking about worrying about the Pelicans. You could be doing a bunch of different things. You could be watching Anthony Davis. You know, winning the Olympics. Who knows what your hurt is? But just call a number, bro. But shout out to Crystal Househouse, man. Shout out to Boo Crew, man. Shout out to everything that we doing right now. Shout out to all of y'all that keep pulling up, keep supporting, keep being in the comments. Whether y'all like the shows or not, I appreciate y'all being, critical, but being supportive at the same time. And just man, it's been a great summer. And I think, we've done our best trying to get out here and put out as much content as possible. But try to come up with fresh shit to talk about and not talk about the same things or wait for the Pelicans to give us news to talk about. Lito, how you doing, bro?
Been better. You know what I'm saying? But but we here, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't cry over spilled milk. And you know what I'm saying? Once the milk gets spilled, you don't want to drink it anyway. So I I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm about to make the best of a I'm about to make the best of a situation. I ain't even gonna call it bad. It's a chance to do better.
100, man.
But y'all don't know
Yeah,
what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We recorded a whole show. We did this show, and then we
yeah,
had some clips of Team USA playing in the background. We was trying to like give a scenario of Pelicans players on the team and how they would fit into the scenario. And then NBC hated. So, now
yeah.
we got to
No
redo it.
face, no face, no case.
It's because Bill
So
Cosby was about to buy. Go ahead.
shout out to Bob Costas, man. So look, it's pretty much simple. Like, I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are. Y'all be sure to let us know in the comments which Pelicans player currently rostered do you guys think would fit best on the USA Olympic team. It could be this team or it could be a team going forward 2028. Me and Lito got a few that we're gonna discuss. I was gonna say we hadn't discussed it already, but we just did a whole show, so we kind of know what each other's gonna be thinking and saying about it. But you know what I'm saying? If we didn't do this show tonight, we were never gonna do it, and the idea was on our mind, so I thought it was a good idea. So let's get into it. Number one, and look, also say why, right? Also
Mhm.
say why you think that's a good fit or this player is a good fit on the Olympic team. Let us know who you would replace them with if it's
Mhm.
not 2028. But the reason that we say you got to give a description as to why you would pick certain player, because anybody could say Zion. We started off with Zion,
Right.
being of course, uh, the first player that we think would fit best. But Lito, you start off by saying why you think he would be an amazing fit.
Yeah. Um. Sorry, I was trying to find this. This I had a stat pulled up of Zion points in transition.
Mm.
And no, I can't find it, but it's all good because the points still gonna remain the same. The reason why I'm picking Zion is because of points in transition. His ability to just be dynamic in a way. Zion plays he plays the game of basketball kind of like a running back. He plays like Derrick Henry. He's the football equivalent of a Derrick Henry. He's a guy who really like doesn't need much blocking. It'd be nice if you blocked for him, but at the end of the day, like I'm probably stronger than most linebackers, and I'm faster than most. I'm faster than most defensive ends and linemen, and cornerbacks are just way too small. So if you provide any support for me in the realm of this, it would be shooting. Zion is a spectacular transition player who is very selfless in within his game. And you see how that will work in that dynamic with, it was at one point tonight where Team USA was a little bit too selfless. They got turnovers because they were looking for each other too much instead of just when Steph was just like, fucking, I'm Steph. Let me remind myself of who I was so I can remind y'all. But Zion in this case, right? We did a show about Zion rebounding. Many shows about it. But like, take that for example. Zion rebounds the ball, he pushes the pace, he throws, I don't know. Let's just say this is 20. We gonna say it's this year, right? He's throwing a lob to Brown, or he finding Steph on the wing. That'd be crazy. Throwing a lob to Brown.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, let's just say Brian gets the rebound and Zion is running and he's throwing a lob to Zion. And it's just like it's so many variances of things that could happen in this scenario with Zion and just being a part of a special team of a group of guys. The main thing too, why I think why it would benefit him so much, because I don't know Zion. I don't know his frame of mind. I think just being around that kind of hard work, that kind of dedication, guys who are at the top of the top, who put time and effort and whatever into their bodies, you know what I'm saying? I think that would do him a world of justice. Being around the best coaches, not only in the NBA but in college, being around basketball minds, retired players, Grant Hill, Hall of Famers. You don't really get that here, right? Like, no disrespect to the Pelicans, but you don't really have that. You look in the front office, you don't really have anybody. You don't have a Hall of Famer at all. There's nobody Zion could like go and talk to here to be like, how do I get my game, or how do I get my brand? How do I get my ability from A to B? So that's one thing. But anyways, the other thing too is like just the weak side defensive Zion in this scenario. In the first show we talked about the goaltending aspect of FIBA, right? The FIBA rules, the FIBA offensive rebounds, the defensive goaltending and stuff like that. Zion's second jump is just so much quicker than everybody else in the world that like he would be amazing at goaltending. He would be amazing at putting the ball back after the second jump. And it's like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, there was a play tonight where KD blocked. I can't remember who it was, but he blocked the layup, but it was just a little bit too late. They called the goaltender. If that's Zion, that ain't a goaltender. That ain't a goaltender. That's clean.
Yeah, I mean, I think first thing, how often have we seen Zion try to fit in? And we made a joke last year we joked a lot about him. I think it was at that game that they lost, and him talking about him kind of trying to take a back seat to things after missing the year prior. No, he didn't miss the year, but he missed the second half of the year for the most part, or only played 30 games. So it was one point in the year where he was talking about taking a back seat. And I think it was it's frustrating in losses, and it's frustrating depending on who you're taking the back seat to. Well, it's different when you're playing with the best that the world has to offer, when you're playing with the best the NBA has to offer, which, regardless what Noah Lau says, is Team USA, is the NBA, right? But it's different at that point, because what could Zion look like in a system where he's being complimentary, or he's a complimentary piece, and he understands why. What happens when Zion isn't, the engine, but he's just a part of the fucking car, and it's like, we just want you to focus on doing this. I don't care about anything else. Just focus on doing this. And no part of no part of the team or no part of the game is affected by his weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? because there is, you mentioned the running back element of it. This Team USA team did not, this roster did not have that. And I mean, one of the parts about being generational is that nobody has that, but the New Orleans Pelicans. I mean, you could name, guys like Giannis, but I'm talking about guys that could be on this particular team, right? Or that would be on this team. I think about how special or how dedicated when you watch these games, they're a little bit lower and they're slower in pace. And teams just sell out they sell out at stopping these guys from getting to the rim. They sell out on giving open looks. They'll give wide open jumpers. They'll give up corner threes. They'll give up things that, like, they don't care as much about making entire offenses rotate, because you're not getting a layup.
Mm-hmm.
And the games are way more physical, and the closeouts are much different. And just the attention to detail in regards to how you defend drives, I think, across the landscape in these games is something that I paid attention to. But when you talk about Zion, he's already used to that.
Right.
It would be no different than what he already is accustomed to playing at his day job. Like, he knows what it's like to go into the rim and having teams sell out already, 4 or 5 guys all looking at him. He knows what it's like to not get whistles, or having teams play physical with him and him being on the ground. He knows what that's like already. So there really isn't much of an adjustment. He's just a superior weapon on a team full of other superior weapons. That is crazy. And on top of that, you talking about him playing with the craziest. Like, what do you do if he's out there with Kevin Durant spacing the floor, or Devin Booker spacing the floor, or fucking Steph Curry? There is nothing you can do. So if you choose to sell out and you let that guy end up taking a three, or the other guy take a three, or pump fake into a midi, or open up a look for somebody else based off of the fact that you sold out on Zion, which you had no choice but to do.
Right.
That's just like, that adds to him, and we know how unselfish he is. Some of the juice. I mean, you brought up the transition, but when Team USA got things going the most, I think, is when they were flying around defensively, they were rotating, they were blocking shots. You don't get in transition without some of those plays. When they locked in, watching Devin Booker lock in defensively, watching Steph Curry, watching Bron, watching Kevin Durant, watching the way that they protected the rim, even when it wasn't Anthony Davis making a play at the rim, even when it wasn't Joel Embiid or whoever. It was, a lot of the more memorable things. It was Edwards a couple times. It was Bron. It was KD. It was those guys, and it was how Devin Booker bought in. That was one of the more special things. He was incredible defensively. And you throwing guys like, of course, Jrue Holiday and Derek White, fitting Zion into that. I mean, I think is absolutely incredible, man. And this is something that we really can't. I think the only thing you would really be able to compare it to, or he would have to compare, he would be able to compare it to, I think, in his career, with being at Duke.
Yeah.
And this is a whole different situation, a whole different setup. So where he's just out there just hooping. He's out there playing basketball with dudes that's gonna make him better. Probably a bunch of dudes that he like, some that he cool with, and then in the Olympic field, some dudes that he look up to. It would be incredible. We already talking about, and that's just this team. We know in 2028, like, the spotlight's going to be on him. It's going to be on John Morant. It's going to be on Ed Edwards returning. It's going to be on Jason Tatum getting a chance at redemption. You know what I'm saying? Like, Olympic redemption. Those guys. But Zion's the clear answer, or the clear number one answer.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't really think there's no disputing that. Zion is in a 92nd percentile in transition points, by the way. This show is a Pelican show, but I want to say this. We have to, Zion and Ja have to be on this team. So
I'm telling you, I'm so pissed that this other show got deleted or is getting deleted. I'm so pissed as we doing this right now. But so with that being said, let's go to number 2. I'm gonna throw out another player though beforehand. So I lied when I said let's go to number 2. I don't know if I guess the book is still out. If I would consider this individual, but I could see a route of him being eligible, and I know exactly if I were him who I would study and master to be able to get there, whether he's just in consideration or it actually happens. DeJounte Murray, and if I were him, man, I would be studying Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I think watching the things that Drew Holiday does, he's one of the few guys I think that has the ability. He has the wingspan. He has the athleticism. They're, I think, comparable in size. They're both combo guards. The difference is Drew changed his mentality as soon as he got around superior talent, like guys that were better or more important than him. If DeJounte can do that, not only would that be special for the Pelicans, and those guys are different, in the fact that I think even at DeJounte's best, Drew's a better defender. And even at Drew's best, DeJounte's a better passer. I'd argue he's ultimately a better offensive player. We're talking skill for skill, but it ain't by much. But that's just talent. The thing with Drew that's changed is the mentality on both sides of the floor. Like that's what's special about him. But being Drew Holiday requires a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah,
and it requires a lot of pride to be put far away somewhere. Because it ain't like being Drew Holiday doesn't get you all the credit that you may deserve. Being what Drew Holiday has been the past few years doesn't get you the same amount of praise as it does 1 or 2 players or 3 players. But it gets you wins. It gets you a championship. It gets you in championship consideration. And then that's when everything comes. Now you know what we say about Drew Holiday? 2-time champion and a 2-time gold medalist. You know what I'm saying? That's hard, bro.
and
That's
go ahead.
huh?
I'm sorry. No, go
Nah,
ahead. And a future Hall of Fame.
easy. He was that before he got this gold medal, but he's one of them dudes. Like, and when you look, if I were DeJounte, that's what I would be looking to master, because I think that's the best arc for his career, and that's the best arc for if you had to consider him or think about him in regards to being a part of this style, this being an Olympian. That's the route. That's the person I will be thinking about. I could be him. I could do that. How do I do it? But that's my thoughts on DeJounte. I do want to hear your thoughts on that at some point. But
Before you
second,
move on, the other thing besides being a Hall of Famer, being a champion, the third thing that Drew Holiday got is paid.
He got paid. And look, does being Drew Holiday at how old is it, DeJounte?
26.
Does being Drew Holiday at 26 get you paid? It does if you win. But
now look, I ain't gonna lie. This person you about to say, I know what you about to do, because the show happened already. You threw me off. I didn't think you was gonna go there, but go ahead.
See, yeah. So we said Zion, right? Zion's the clear answer. He's the clear cut. He's the most popular answer, to this question. But if we being real, if we being like 100%, if my life was on the line, my answer would be Herb Jones.
Okay.
Thoughts?
This is where, like I said, you threw me off, because I definitely thought you were going to Trey. Like I thought.
See, yeah.
I thought you were going to Trey because Trey's game, we know Trey's game. It will work in this scenario. However, I'm gonna let you get back to your point. But however, I'm so mad. Once you described, uh, you did a Derek White, Drew,
Drew, Andre
Andre,
Iguodala.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
is, it's simple. Like those are you can pick so many different examples of players like that just fit seamlessly on these kind of teams that instantly are dudes that you would want to be either in consideration or trying out or on the team. And when you look at Derek White, while he was a replacement for Kawhi, man, Herb's right there. Herb's right there. He just doesn't have the winning cachet. He doesn't have the, he's not a part of an organization like Boston right now. But you mean to tell me that Herb couldn't, like, even if you think Derek White is ultimately the better player, and I do by shade, I don't think Herb's that far away. And I was looking at, man, so Serbia, and I think what made me think about this, before me and you even had the conversation about show topics, I was watching the Serbia game on Thursday, and I kept watching. They kept running these plays to the weak side of the floor. They kept running like stagger screens, and then they would multiply them, and it was points where, Serbia was shooting the hell out the ball pretty much for the first 3 quarters. But one of the reasons they kept making these threes because the looks were so clean off these sets they were running, and they wouldn't miss. And I kept watching, like it was neutralizing even having different in the game. It was neutralizing so many different individuals because they couldn't get through these screens clean enough, quickly enough. And I'm like, it's Herb. Like I was like, damn, like they need somebody to fuck up an entire possession. Herb fucks up possessions in ways Derek White doesn't. Like Herb, because Herb's used to being an eraser. Like Herb shuts down things.
right.
Derek White can, but I think I see Derek White as more of a defensive, like a fantastic defensive accessory who can shine in situations where he's asked to, lock down, or when he's asked to guard the best. Well, we know what Herb is. Herb is making up. Herb ain't playing with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Right.
Herb ain't playing with Porzingis or Robert Williams III in the past or fucking Al Horford or like the list goes on and on with the type of talent that's been surrounded. He ain't playing with the surrounding parts.
Right.
Shit, Derek White. I think the first defensive team Derek White made, he was playing with DeJounte Murray. Ironically, Herb is playing with DeJounte now, so we'll see how that helps. But point being is that we've seen Herb Jones be spectacular with, no disrespect, Jonas Valanciunas being his center. With sometimes he Williamson defensively. Sometimes he Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. The list goes on and on. So if you can make that look special, what does it look like when you are playing with the best in the fucking world that are all playing above their ground defensively, that are giving their best trying to win this go? Like, the best part about it is that when you think of Herb Jones, and that's just one side of the ball. It's helped that it also helps that he's gotten better as a shooter. It helps that we know what he can do is passing the basketball. He's gonna make everybody's life easier, and there's not gonna be a player on that roster on the floor that's gonna be like, "Damn, y'all pick Herb." No, they are gonna be happy because you are better as a basketball player when Herb steps on the floor. You just are. And he don't talk, so you never have to hear about it.
He do talk. He don't talk to the media, but like
He was on the floor,
the in-game shit. Man, look, in the first show, I said Herb Jones is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. He's your favorite basketball player's favorite basketball player. He might not be a household name in 90% of casuals and shit, but like I guarantee you, the people who are in NBA circles who are supposed to be in the know, who have power, they know who Herb Jones is. They are aware of everything Herb Jones does. Herb Jones is a conduit. Said that before. Herb Jones is a guy who takes pieces of himself, and he integrates it into defense. He empowers a Jonas, a CJ. He makes them play over their head defensively because they know if I just give this little bit of effort, Herb go erase everything, right? I think Herb Jones is a guy, bro. To be honest, it ain't really many dictionary words to describe him. He just truthfully like that shot Steph hit today, while as unbelievable as that shot was, is probably, to be honest, it's probably the most impressive shot Steph has ever made in his career, in my opinion. Just thinking about the stage, what was on the line, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't a national basketball. This is for the world. Like, this is for your country, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I've seen Herb Jones do some incredible defensive things that I still don't understand. I've seen Herb Jones go from being a primary on ball defender, basically a middle linebacker, to being a strong safety, baiting and switching a player into thinking a side of the floor was open, intercepting the pass, then turning into a running back, lateraling the ball to whoever's in the shooting pocket on my weak or strong side, quarterbacking that, getting them you know what I'm saying? Like, Herb Jones does extraordinary things ordinarily all the time. And
And
go ahead.
I mean, I mean, to your point, he's super intelligent on the floor, and somebody you don't have to explain his role. Some guys, when you are putting this roster together, you got to have a sit down with about how you envision them playing differently from what they play or how they play at their 9 to 5.
Right.
You just hand Herb the basketball and just say, you might tell him to rebound a little bit more, but ain't nothing else changing. And in fact, you're offering him more than he would get at his day job. You mean tell me I could work the same amount of hours, but I ain't got to work as hard? Like, if we had to compare the two, Herb got to work overtime sometime. And them 8 hours that he at the job, dog, look, he ain't got no time to do nothing. He get back to the crib. Like, he is mentally taxed, exhausted more times than not, because that's the situation that that's the burden, unfortunately, that he's been put in some nights with some roster construction, and just it's the curse of being as great as he's been so far in his career.
Yep.
Team USA, he could be done with his work in 4 hours in half the time, because he ain't think about the questions that we still asking. What does Herb Jones look like with a rim protector? What does he look like with another all NBA caliber defender full time? What does it look like when we're not asking Herb to do everything? He could just be a part of a system. It's like, oh, there goes Herb being spectacular, but there's such and such. You ain't got to worry about that on Team USA. All your questions will be answered.
Bro, imagine Herb Jones with Bam, Devin Booker, and Edwards. Insert whoever in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. I disappointed myself. Insert whatever player in that lineup. And like, you got like Devin Booker, in my opinion, played the best defense out of anybody on
It was
in the
incredible,
league.
bro.
Like,
Incredible.
bro. And it was, you talk about trying to find a spot for Jason Tatum on the floor, and the math wasn't adding up because Devin Booker was like, bro, he was so efficient on the offensive side of the floor. He wasn't forcing anything. But anyways, add Herb Jones to that.
So let's finish here with the last person who you thought I would say as instead of Herb Jones, but he right there. They both were on the select team together.
Yeah. I wish I
And
had
if you
the
had
choice.
and if you took a survey around
Yeah.
the league, I probably guess that Trey Murphy would be picked before Herb Jones. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think
yeah,
you're right though, Chris. I think you're right.
okay.
No, I think you're right in that scenario. I think if you ask 99% of the NBA or 99% of fans, um, who they would pick, Trey or Herb, I think they would tell you they would pick Trey.
Right, and that's I mean that's totally understandable, but skill set, right? So one of the problems with Jason Tatum was a problem that we saw Bi have in FIBA ball and others that like what do you do when you are termed when you're a superstar asking to be a role player again when maybe you've never been a role player. Like how do you do that? And like imagine that you just won a championship in June and a month later you being
Yeah.
told, all right, hey, I need you to be I need you to be Robert Covington. Can you be Robert Covington for a month? Huh?
Yeah.
Can you be a little bit better than Derek White? Just a little bit better. No? All right, well, we're gonna bring in Derek White and he gonna play instead of you. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of crazy. But that ain't shitting on Tatum. And I think there was some times within these last few games where I think Tatum, could have played a little bit more than he ultimately did. But that's a different story. This is not a Celtic show. But at the same time, it's a testament to what we just talked about with Herb and how these rosters are built. Some of these guys that are naturally already role players, like that excel, that are stars, and what they're asked to do in the NBA, they're easy calls and easier add-ons than the said superstar.
Mm-hmm.
So Trey fits that role. He's already an amazing shooter. He's already a dude that when he's tapped in rebounding, that you can get Devin Booker to defend the way that he was. You can get the Trey Murphy that showed up at the end of last season to show up for a month or some change for Olympic play. We know what he can do in transition, but the same thing to be said that we were talking about with Herb applies to Trey. What happens when you ain't gotta stand at 30 feet or 35 feet to create space? What happens when you're playing when LeBron James is throwing a basketball to you and KD's on the opposite fucking corner? What happens if you are getting shots that you dreamed about? Then you could get in transition and you have the right athleticism, the right size. Trey Murphy is a dream for these kind of situations and setups if he stays healthy because he's already a role player that it's just probably deserves to have an opportunity to do a little bit more. But his best skill sets, say like today, say highly effective role player. And Team USA are always gonna need, every Olympic team is gonna need somebody like that. And we could be talking in 4 years, bro, and saying Trey the best at that.
I was going to give a scenario of like what I was about to say, but I'm gonna let Trey say it.
The FIBA select team, like practicing, with the FIBA team, like what was that experience like? I mean, obviously, like you went against BI, we know you was killing them. You know what I'm saying? But I know you if you can't say it, that's fine.
Yeah, it's maybe sign NDA for that one.
You know what I'm saying? But like, what was that experience like?
It was great. It's always good to be in that system because one day I'll love to play in the Olympics and potentially do FIBA one day. And it's a different game. I'll tell you that. It's crazy. Like I had Josh Hart guarding me, and he was literally like, it's nothing new from the NBA game. He fouls a lot in that game too, but he was fouling, and they were just like letting it go. I'm like, yo, this is like a really physical game, and so it was cool. But it's different for sure. It's definitely a different game.
But they could have used you. So
I mean, yeah.
So
man. Shout out to Media Man 1 and 2, man. Shout out to 5, man. Shout out to Lito. Go ahead, man. It's a fantastic video.
So man, yeah, like he already had the ambition. He told you what he wants to do. He wants to play in the Olympics. He has the FIBA experience playing with the select team. He's played against the best of the best. I know Brown wasn't there, but mainly other than that, the best of the best in that scenario. I think Trey's a guy who could provide man, just depth in a whole lot of ways. He's a 6'10 shooter who is athletic. That sounds like an X-Men. That sounds like something Charles Xavier would need to harness his energy to become a person who saves the planet. Um, Trey, same scenario, like you said, with Devin Booker, same scenario with Zion. You rebound, you play defense, right? All opportunities open up for you. You start, you lead the break. You create the break, you get the ball back, you shoot transition threes, you catch lobs from Brian, you catch lobs from, I don't know, let's say probably Halliburton has a better, greater role next time. Um, I think that I think that, you know, Trey's ceiling could be whatever he wants it to be. You could look at a scenario tonight where Steph had to take some really tough threes. I think Trey has about a quickest shot as Steph. I'm not saying it's
Mhm.
as good as Steph. I'm saying the release point of the basketball. He shoots the ball really quickly. He won't have to take 40-foot jumpers. Phoebe is a different game. Think about what I said about the offensive and defensive goaltending with Zion. Same rules apply for Trey. You know what I'm saying? In weak side defense and help side and just offensive rebounding. But like they could implement two things that will help them tremendously, not only in FIBA, in the Olympics, but bring it back to the Pelicans is just playing with pace. You saw what Team USA look like when they run it. When they run it,
Yep.
nobody can fuck with them, right? In this scenario, when the Pelicans are running, it's the same thing, bro. Like you get your best talent, you create mismatches and advantages for your team, and you take advantage of them. You get people in foul trouble. We was talking earlier. I was saying the thing about Embiid that I realized I wasn't really like a fan of Joel Embiid, and I didn't really finish the point. What I was trying to say is, in my opinion, he had the mismatch against Wemby, but he settled so often. He could have attacked Wemby. He could have got Wemby in foul trouble. He is the bigger player in that scenario. Like you attack Wemby and you make him, you know what I'm saying? You get him out of defensive position, you get him off his feet, he jumps you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but instead
Right.
we just taking elbow jumpers. We just taking free throw line jumpers, and you settling. And in that case, they win it, even though that's a good shot for you in the NBA. However, what I was trying to say is when you look at who on the floor with you,
Yeah.
like
It
like
just, but that goes back to the conversation about like asking these stars to turn into role. Like, how do you simplify your game for a month when you're Joel Embiid? How do you how do you simplify it? Like, how do you do that? How
yeah,
do you do that when LeBron can simplify his game whenever he wants to because he's arguably the greatest to ever do. He's one of the greatest, but because the things he does best complements any fucking team. The things that Steph does best complement any team in the world. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, the list goes on and on. Joel Embiid, he it can, but not as easy when he's not an ecosystem, right? Like Jokic, if you put the beauty in Serbia, starts with the fact that Jokic is everything. It's one
right.
reason Embiid should have went to go play for Cameroon or wherever because we could have. That's where he's best fitting at. It's hard to imagine what he looks like as a complementary piece. Like, what does Joel Embiid look like when he's the fifth or sixth best option or best player? It's weird, but
Yeah,
not when it's Trey Murphy
no,
because I'm not asking you to simplify anything. What you do best is simple enough.
crazy enough. Shout out to Dragonfly Jones. Joel was supposed to play for France, so imagine him and Wimby on the floor at the same time too. Like that's a little crazy.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, man. Anyways, one of those three guys, even DeJounte Murray, I'm excited to see DeJounte Murray's development in this situation. I hope is a lot more leadership, and I hope it leads to a lot more assists. And he still keeps the same amount of 3-pointers that he took up, but I hope that like his attitude rubs off on some guys on this team.
The Pelicans could learn a lot with what they have and what it looks like they're going into the season with from Team USA. They can learn a lot because it's going to have to be a lot of sacrifice if they want to win. Guys are going to have to do things they traditionally don't do, things that they traditionally don't like doing. They're going to have to play without the basketball like Coach Carter made them dudes do. Oh, I think he did. Like it's just that's what it's about, man. That's the beauty in it for some of these guys. Some guys on the Pelicans are ready to do that already, but will the stars do it? Because if not, you're gonna be sitting on the bench, or if you don't know how to do it and you play with some of the best, you're gonna be sitting outside, outside looking in like Jason Tatum.
Sitting outside the club, hey, you can't even get in.
That was unnecessary. Second show, which makes a third show in about how long now? About an hour and a half now.
Yep. Working.
Hey, man.
Working.
Hey, man. Shout out to y'all again, man. Y'all let us know which Pelicans player y'all think would fit best on the USA team this year going forward. Be sure to tell us why. Keep supporting us, man. You know what I'm saying? Better for worse, whether you like the show, you don't like the show. That's cool, man. Just keep pulling up. We appreciate all your comments, whether or not we respond to them. Oh, I promise y'all we see them. We think, as a group, we the best to really, to this doing this shit right now, and we just trying to get better. I mean, that's the goal. We ain't here because we gotta be. We ain't here because we getting paid millions. We here because we rock with y'all. We passionate about where we from, and we know a little bit about what we talking about, and love the games that we talk about. So yeah. Anything else, Lito?
Nah, man, if y'all got anything y'all want us to talk about, obviously it's about to be dead now because you don't have no Olympic basketball. So if you got anything you want us to talk about, please, man, drop a line of comments. Let us know because y'all hated the Jeremiah Robinson Earl show. So
Hey, yeah. Gave you privacy on my first joint.
y'all all laid out.
All right, well.
I sit here and we zone out, you dig, and just appreciate how it came and thank God for the blessings.
Thank God for the blessing. Stop hating.